Jason David Frey.
And Mr. Saban.
That's Tom.
And that's Chris.
And if this is your first time joining us,
that's not a big surprise.
because it's our first episode.
So stay tuned.
It's PRNT time. Welcome, Rangers,
To the very first episode of
PRNT,
where we talk about all things
Power Rangers.
On this, our very first episode, we're going to talk about our favorites and why. We're going to talk about things like our favorite colors,
Our favorite Rangers,
our favorite series,
and our favorite theme songs.
so stay tuned. We're also going to be talking about things we're going to be talking about in future episodes, so as a little teaser, so stay tuned for that as well. First up, though, our favorite colors. Chris.
Well, as a wee little boy,
Not that long ago.
my favorite color was always blue. I always gravitated towards the Blue Rangers strictly because of my favorite color being blue.
Fair enough.
But as I grew older, I realized the characters themselves that ended up being the Blue Rangers, they tended to be my favorites anyway, so it kind of worked out
What a
for me.
coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom.
I would have to say my favorite color is green. Probably because all the Green Rangers, except for the first couple, were the exact opposites of me. Anybody that knows me, they'll say I'm a very serious type, always thinking, always inside my own head. Where the Green Rangers, such as Bridge from SPD, they're the exact opposites of that. Very smart, but they're also very goofy and laid back, and always having a good time. So I always wanted to be the Green Ranger. I always wanted to be that carefree spirit that always had so much fun just enjoying life. So I would go with green.
Awesome. Next we're going to talk about our favorite Rangers.
So before we get started with that, we have a
Right.
little asterisk. If you were to ask any Power Ranger fan who their favorite is, 99% of them would probably say
Tommy.
But we have a special episode dedicated to him later on. So what you're going to be hearing now is kind of like our number 2 favorites. But later, like I said, we're going to have a special episode dedicated just to Tommy. So my favorite one, besides Tommy, would have to be Adam from Mighty Morphin, Zeo, and Turbo. I always liked Adam. He was always that go-getter. He always was there to support a hand whenever needed. And Adam was really someone you could depend on. So he was always right there ready to help out whenever needed.
Right. Something else that's cool about Adam is that he did come back and make a couple cameos for crossover episodes like In Space.
Right.
Helping out Carlos.
When Carlos needed someone to support him, Adam was there. Yeah.
And in Operation Overdrive, he came back to lead a whole nother team of Rangers, which was awesome.
Right. It was really good to see Adam.
Yeah.
In that role too.
So
yeah,
that was fantastic.
Yeah. Chris, yours.
My favorite Rangers, I actually have 2, but mostly because they're kind of the same character.
And they're even the same color.
They are. Same dinosaur.
Right, yeah.
That would be Billy and Ethan, the Triceratops Blue Rangers. Billy, obviously, from Mighty Morphin.
Right.
And Ethan from Dino Thunder. What I really loved about them, besides them being blue, is the fact that they were kind of geeky. They were nerdy. They weren't necessarily the strong fighters. But throughout the series, they learned that they were still needed to be part of a full Power Ranger team. You need brains instead of always brawn.
Yeah, those 2 series would be very different without those 2 characters.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So Billy and Ethan, I love you guys. Next up is our favorite Power Rangers series.
There have been over 20 of them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, over 20 of them.
There's been a lot of Power Ranger
series. And we love every single one of them.
We do.
Yeah.
On Netflix, I give each one 5 stars.
That's right. But our favorite series?
Mine would definitely have to be In Space.
Good one.
In Space has a fantastic story where they kind of wrap up the beginning of Power Rangers altogether. In a time where they thought Power Rangers was going to end, they gave it their all, and it shows. It's a fantastic series.
The end of the Zordon era.
End of the Zordon era.
Yeah.
Yes.
My favorite series would have to be Dino Thunder. I hadn't watched Power Rangers for a while till I was probably high school age, but the one that was on during that time was Dino Thunder. So I would they always showed those episodes later at night as reruns type of thing, and I really liked Dino Thunder. Maybe because they only started with 3 Rangers. All of them, start with 5, 6, so on and so forth. Now they ended with 5, but they only started with 3, and Connor, Ethan, and Kira. And the thing about that, though, is they also started from different areas of life. Connor was the jock, always playing soccer. Ethan was the brains, as Chris mentioned earlier, and Kira was the musician. So they took 3 unlikely friends and made them into Power Rangers, and they had to learn that each personality type could contribute to the team. And that's what really, once they learned to mesh and flow, the series really took off, and it was really cool to see them all kind of get a taste of each other's lives.
Yeah.
And plus, it was a resurgence of Tommy. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. That's just a given. Alright, our final topic for today is our favorite theme. Chris and I spent a lot of time, actually on my phone, I have all the Power Rangers themes. And we listened to them on our way to the gym, kind of help us get pumped up. We found that there's always one, however, that sticks in our mind hours after we listen to it, and that, of course, is
Jungle Fury.
So if you haven't listened to that one, take a listen and try to get that one out of your head. Good luck with that. But my favorite theme would have to be Zeo. Just those opening notes, saying the word Zeo, of course. It makes me always feel excited because Zeo is also one of my favorite series. So I'm always looking forward to hearing that theme, get me all pumped up for Zeo. Chris?
Yeah, before I say mine, actually, I do want to mention that, we love every single theme song.
That is true.
Even ones when we first heard it, we thought,
maybe.
They grew on us, and each theme song brings something different to the table, and
we know most of the words to most of them, yeah.
We just love them all and listen to them all.
It's true.
But, for my favorite that I would have to mention, you can't mention Power Rangers without people thinking of the original theme song, Mighty Morphin.
Yeah. Just that rock,
Oh, yeah.
Here we go, this is going to be awesome.
And I actually have a little story about that.
Okay.
One time, I was driving home from the movie theater, and I saw someone headbanging in their van.
Like bouncing off the steering wheel type of...
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay.
And he was just rocking out, and I was like, okay, I've heard of metalheads before, I've heard of that kind of stuff before, but I couldn't quite understand what he was getting into. Well, a couple weeks later, I was driving, I pulled up to a stop sign, and the Mighty Morphin theme popped up on my playlist, and I just started rocking out to it. And I had this epiphany. That guy was rocking out to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's the only explanation I could come up with.
Unless it was you from the future brought back to help put you down this trail.
Time Force picked me up.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? Time Force, if you're out there listening, thank you. So that concludes our first episode. But as promised, we have a few teasers on what we're going to be talking about in the future. We're going to be talking about things such as...
the Boom Studios Mighty Morphin Power Ranger comic.
The new ones, yeah, we both enjoyed.
Tom and I have been picking them up as much as we can, as well as the off-series Pink.
Yep. Awesome.
All of them are fantastic, and we will definitely be talking about that in the future.
Right. We're also going to be talking about the hot power females. So we couldn't do a talk show about Power Rangers without talking about them. So stay tuned for that. That'll be a good one. Kimberly for sure. Yeah, she'll be on it.
Kind of like today, in the future we'll talk more about our favorite moments, such as jokes, or any specific moments that we feel need to be mentioned.
Kind of like how the buildings were always abandoned.
Always been.
Always
No one
been.
ever died in Power Rangers.
Never.
That's a lie, and we may talk about that in the future.
And we're also going to be talking about the science of the morphing grid. My day job is actually a science teacher, so I'm looking forward to bringing my science background. And we're going to talk about the morphing grid relating energy, which the morphing grid is, and how they can create matter from that. And is there an evil morphing grid? So that'll be something. We have a 3-part series on morphing grid that we're definitely going to address.
Awesome. Well, hey, if you like this, please remember to subscribe. You could also click here to like us on Facebook.
And you can click here to follow us on Twitter.
All right. Well, Rangers, again, thanks for watching.
And our hope is that the power will always protect you.
Let's power down. Cool. We have that part down no matter what. So this is the part where the theme transition is going to happen.
It should be over by now, though. Well, 20 seconds.
That's okay. We can crap this part out. And back to you, Tom.
Thank you.
Alright, so how do we start off again? Okay. Welcome, Rangers!